Okay. So now we moved on to Spencerport, and I got up in the morning because, of course, I'm the first one up every morning. And I went to turn on some lights, and there was nothing, no power. So I went to another outlet, another switch, and turned that on, nothing. And so at that point, I woke the captain up, and I'm like, "We got a problem."
No, I'm just waking up.
We've got another problem. Good morning. We have no power.
I'm just waking up, and I'm not a great morning person. So I'm like, oh, what the heck is that going on? You know, how could we? You must be doing something wrong. The lights must turn on.
I don't know how to flick a switch.
So sure enough, I got up to the panel, and our batteries were dead. They were absolutely, completely dead. I have no immediate explanation for how they went that dead overnight. Maybe we didn't connect the power that night. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how they went dead overnight like that. But what I can tell you is that I carry an extra battery charger on board because our dinghy uses an electric trolling motor. And so I have to be able to charge that dinghy. And so I have a 30 amp DeWalt charger on board. So what I did was I connected that charger up to the batteries. Between the two chargers, the one on board and the DeWalt 30 amp charger, the batteries finally came back up full, but it took from the morning till it was already getting dark out by the time those batteries were charged. So where were we? This was Spencerport. And videos you'll hear us say we stopped in Middleport, mostly to cut the distance between Spencerport and town of Wanda, because we didn't know what more battery problems we were going to encounter, and we didn't want to get halfway to town of Wanda and find that our boat just was dead in the water. So we thought if we hopped a shorter hop, that we were a little safer.
And we could do some charging if needed.
Now, so when I got to Middleport, we charged that all. Actually, so when we got to Medina and we had to charge those batteries up again. We got to Middleport, we had to charge them up again. And at that point, what I discovered, I did some research on our battery charger and on the batteries themselves, trying to understand the problem. And it turns out, when we bought the boat, the people that were selling us the boat had said, well, we just changed out the batteries and put in a brand new battery charger for you. So neither we nor either of the two surveyors that we had hired to check out the boat ever really scrutinized the batteries and the charger. And what they had installed were truck batteries. The truck batteries largely meet the specs that are required for 100 amp hours, and there's a total of 5 batteries on board. But they're not actually marine batteries. So the difference between the marine battery that can do 100 amp hours and the truck battery that can do 100 amp hours, I don't know the difference, but I know that it's just not right in terms of the way those batteries should be operating. But then the next issue there was they put in a 20 amp charger, and if I were using this boat on the weekends and I parked it at the dock and I put it on charge, I didn't see it again until the following weekend, that 20 amp charger would probably have been fine. But it's terribly insufficient to try to charge 5 100 amp hour batteries in the, let's say, 12 hours that it had to charge them. And there's just no way a 20 amp charger is going to be able to charge those batteries up. So the further we went on our trip, the more and more and more discharged those batteries became, until finally they were dead, is really what it amounts to. It's another thing we got repaired and replaced when we got to Black Rock, Harbor Place Marina. I really like Harbor Place Marina. If you're going through there, they did great service for us, and I'm very happy. And you can stop in there and get whatever you need done on the boat. They could handle just about anything.
And there's a West Marine right on property, too.
That was a beautiful thing. There's a West Marine, so even if you're just stuck there and you just want to wander around West Marine and look at stuff that you want to look at, it's right there on property. So they replaced all that. They replaced the charger. They did not replace the batteries because they said the batteries are still good. So we may find that in 2024 now that we have to find new batteries yet. But at that time, which was about end of July, early August, the batteries were fine. So that had gotten all cleaned up. We're in a service center, and there were a couple other things that I wanted them to look at. And one of those, am I still on schedule here?
No.
Oh, yes, I am.
We forgot it. You forgot Middleport.
What's in middle? The best story. Okay, back up, rewind.
This is my story. So as Joe said, we stopped after Medina. We stopped in Middleport, which was going to be our last stop before going on to Tonawanda. And so we went to start the boat up. Joe went to start the boat up, and the starboard engine would not start. And we're like, oh my God, what next? I mean, we could have driven with one engine, but it's just not great. And especially since we were going to ultimately be heading into the Niagara River to get to Harbor Place Marina, two engines are better than one.
When you're starting an engine on a nearly dead or almost dead battery, and the battery tends to go click, 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 because it just can't keep, there's a solenoid in there and it can't keep it open. That wasn't happening. It was just going click and nothing. Click, one click and nothing.
And so our Luke friends, Lee and Rhonda and Ineffable, were already in Tonawanda and were expecting us to meet them that night. And they had heard of a mechanic in the area in Tonawanda who was willing to come out and take a look for us. But I said to Joe, well, let's reach out to the bridge operator. Maybe there's, a diesel mechanic here somewhere. Middleport's a really small town, but he said, you know what, you are docked right next to the Middleport Public Works Department. And he said, they have diesel trucks in there, so there's diesel mechanics. And he actually made a call to them and asked if one of their mechanics would come out and give us a hand, take a look. So this guy comes out and he's, looking and checked a couple of things. And then you heard the old, well, tap it with a hammer.
So when I was a kid, I can remember my dad tapping the starter on his car, and because the starter was stuck, and you tap it a couple times and the car will start up. So I had thought, there's something wrong with my starter. I need to tap it with a hammer a couple times. But so we now have a bridge operator, a couple of diesel mechanics from the what do you call it? The
Public Works.
Public Works. We had people in Tonawanda looking for mechanics. I was on the phone with Harbor Place Marina trying to get their advice. It's like the entire community is looking at my boat, trying to get it started. And the best anybody could come up with was you're going to have to tap that thing with a hammer.
So Joe had to do the tapping, and so I had to go up on the bridge to start the engine. And while I'm up there, since we have two engines.
Wait.
Listen,
Don't tell that. So I got in the engine room with my little ball peen hammer, and I yell out to Diane to start up the engine, and I'm ready to hit, and I hear the click, and I go to tap it, and I'm thinking in my head, I swear to God, that engine started up before I hit the starter with the hammer. And it was like, click, room, tap. And I'm like, what in the heck? It must be stress, because I swear that engine started up before I tapped it.
So anyway, while I was sitting up on the bridge waiting for Joe to give me the okay to start the engines, I happened to look down, and there are two transmission handles, and I noticed that they should sit like this next to each other even, and I noticed this one was pulled back a little. And so in my head, now I've never started the boat before, but in my head I'm thinking, I wonder if that has something to do with it. So I pushed the other one up, and then that's when Joe had given me the signal or that's when I had, started. He gave me the signal to try starting it, and it started before he ever did the hammer tap. So everybody was happy.
Everybody's happy. Everybody's cheering.
We solved your problem.
Better get that fixed, and I'm so grateful to everybody, but I'm way too embarrassed to tell everybody that it was.
Well, no,
because it was in gear.
Well, what happened? So then everything's running, and we're waiting for the engines to warm up, and they're finally warmed up, and get the lines untied, and we're pulling away from the dock, and I explained to Joe what I had witnessed with the two transmission handles and being out of sync with each other, and
the engine was in gear basically. It's like putting your car in reverse
and trying to start your car in reverse or park, or not in park, but in reverse or drive. It just won't start. So I knew in the back of my head just to keep my mouth shut until we got away from everybody, that what we kind of think happened is, so we do have a canvas cover for all of our electronics, and we're thinking when we pulled the cover off for the morning that maybe it just got hung up on there a little bit, and or one of us knocked it with a hand or a knee, and just pushed pushed it into gear. And yeah, so we didn't want to tell anybody about that, except Lee and Rhonda and Ineffable had reached out and asked how we were doing, and I told them what happened, and then they kind of nicknamed me Diesel Diane after that, because I solved problems, I guess.
Yeah, I was just too embarrassed to tell all those people that were trying to help us. I was too embarrassed to let them know I was trying to start it with it in reverse. Okay, well, so then we finally do get to. We go through Tonawanda. We didn't have any problems in Tonawanda, so I'm going to jump to Black Rock, and we got the battery issue resolved. We still have a battery issue that we'll talk about in a later video, because we haven't completely fixed it yet. We don't know what's the rest of that problem, but we did get a new charger in. We had a bilge pump that was out that had died, and we got a bilge pump fixed. We got the new water regulator that I spoke of a couple minutes ago. And then what we had noticed was that there was water on the starboard side that was dripping into the bilge. Slow drip almost all the time. And so I had him take a look at that. And that turned out to be a water heater, damaged water heater. And so we we had to wait about a week while waiting for delivery on a water heater predominantly. The work took, they probably took 4 or 5 hours doing the whole install, but we had to wait about a week to get the new hot water heater.
Was it hot water tank or hot water heater? Heater?
Hot water heater and hot water tank, same thing.
Okay.
Um,
See, shows you what I know.
So we got all that taken
Diane.
care of, and go back to our list of stuff. I think that's more or less it. We do still have that too. We do have a drip back there that we haven't resolved yet. We don't know at this point if the hot water heater actually needed to be replaced because we still have a drip happening. But those guys made a good decision, I think, saying, based on where the water's showing up, I think they made a good decision saying that it was a hot water heater. At this point, I don't know. There's still a drip, and we're still looking for what that drip is, where that drip is coming from. But now, all that being said, thank you so much for watching. And really, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. We really could use your help. We get, the more subscribers we have and the more people that like a video, the more coverage YouTube gets us, and then people have a chance to see it because YouTube will promote it within based on that criteria. So please, if you haven't subscribed, please smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, get notifications. And
you know what? And if there's something you don't like, we'd like to hear about that too. You know, if you'd rather see some different type of content, or you know, you think our video was too long or too short, or just anything, and you know, we're welcome to criticism too. So we just want to make it as fun and interesting as possible.
Well, so thank you very much. And that was Docktails. I guess this is video 10.
Docktails from Morton City, Florida.